telling them.
Into the Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Yeah.
We're a country of immigrants. We all came from somewhere. Came from India. It's snowing currency.
Maybe they paid the wrong people.
It's 2 to 3 days walking from here to get to any kind of civilization.
So you're
Are
saying
those people up here?
you're Walker, Texas Ranger, and Trevette.
Put away your personal
Dude, how much fun they're having. How much fun, man.
political rhetoric. Get down to business.
Have you seen many guys from India coming?
The cartels are collecting their money down here under this bridge.
Do they ever fire over the border?
Oh, yeah.
The coyotes can literally just drop them right here and they walk over and call 911.
Wait, this guy made the East LA video that you watched? Yeah, wait, is this the same guy?
Good morning, guys. Here in Yuma, Arizona, right on the border.
Isn't this like a good... Oh, no. Wasn't he like a chill dude? What the f did he become this guy?
Border with Mexico. And in recent times, there's been a huge influx of migrants coming over this border. But what is the situation like now? What does it compare to other times in Yuma history? So today we're gonna meet with Sheriff Wilmot, who's been in office here for decades, who's gonna walk us through his perspective and his understanding of the situation. Let's do this.
Yeah, he was like super kind to the Bangladeshi immigrants in old Polish neighborhoods in Detroit, so I'm like kind of shocked. Ultimately, if he's a super libertarian, he should be open borders, right? If like real libertarians are all about freedom of travel, freedom of movement.
A more interesting part.
Well, it's all interesting.
Okay, let's do remote. Yeah.
Cartels also have designated areas that they control where their narcotics come across. And those that do not want to be apprehended are also guided through. Anybody that crosses the border here is paying anywhere from $6,000 per person up to $15,000. It all depends on what country you came from. So those that are coming from Russia, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, the Ukraine, they're paying more to get here.
What I was told in South Texas was the fence isn't going to stop anyone. 32-foot fence, 33-foot ladder, whatever, right? But it makes it easier for Customs and Border Protection to deal with it because they can set up the infrastructure on the on the fence. You can see where people are all pinching together to go over, whatever. It's Is that your understanding of it, or
It's a deterrent. And yes, they do use ladders, but ergo, you have cameras, you have sensors, but it does slow down that criminal element so that Border Patrol can actually...
It doesn't even do that. It's just easier to apprehend them. The goal is to... Listen. The goal is to basically get the undocumented migrant workers to be caught and relegated into slave labor within the immigrant detention system, overflow facilities, rather than allow them to come into the country and work as undocumented laborers under private facilities for pennies on the dollar. Right? Like, that's it. That's the main difference here. That's the main difference here. That's why the wall works. The wall doesn't actually create safety. It doesn't even create a presence of a deterrent. These people have walked thousands of miles in some instances. They don't give a f about a wall, bro. They're gonna sidestep that wall. What this guy is doing is nothing different than slave labor. Yeah, it's a funnel. Exactly.
actually respond and get there to be able to apprehend. And it keeps individuals from impact.
Which is ironic because the majority of undocumented immigrants at this stage are not even border crossers. They're visa overstayers. And, turning them into full-blown institutionalized slaves.
Impacting our farmers. When most people hear Yuma, Arizona, they think of desert. It's the whole of the United States. 90% of your winter leafy greens. When you have these gaps in the fencing that were stopped, it's just an open area and it funnels the cartels. This is one of the crossing points, is right down here. And there's where it impacts our farmers because those individuals were going into those fields and defecating and the trash was being left there. As a farmer, because of food safety, you can't harvest.
Here. You were asking what they do at immigrant detention centers. Ending forced labor in ICE detention centers, a new approach. Privately managed detention centers hold the majority of detained immigrants in Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Coerced detainee labor in these for-profit facilities is commonplace. The practice contributes significantly to the financial viability of Core Civic and GEO Group, the two corporations which manage most ICE detention centers, but it violates the prohibition on forced labor contained in the 2000 Trafficking Victims Protection Act. Despite a growing field of scholarship on criminal immigration, and proposals to abolish immigrant detention, few scholars have examined the centrality of forced labor on immigrant detention. Instead, most scholarly analyses of the TVPA have focused on its impact on trafficking or on its extraterritorial application. Because practitioners rather than scholars, we were first to recognize that the TVPA's prohibition of forced labor applies to private detention centers. There's been little scholarly analysis on the application of TVPA to forced labor within detention facilities. Woke program is the subject of 6 separate lawsuits which say their privately run immigration detention centers are coercing detainees into working for $1 a day and punishing those who don't. Similar structure to how prisons work too, by the way, which is not surprising. And Congress should not wait for these lawsuits to be decided. Democrats have won the House. It's not going to happen. Prison labor, immigrant detention, civil confinement. Immigrant detention is civil confinement, not criminal. By the way, what a liberal assessment. It's fine if you enslave criminals, but if it's a civil confinement, then like you shouldn't enslave them. Meanwhile, it doesn't matter. It's the same principle, so who cares? They're going to be enslaved regardless.
And littering, the county had to put up these porta-johns at certain locations so that they wouldn't go out in the fields and contaminate the farm fields. Why is the county having to pay that bill?
Right.
The federal government has already said that immigration is their sole responsibility, right? They've said that. Why aren't they paying their bills? There are things in law enforcement called ethics, integrity. I don't get that out of Mayorkas at all.
Okay, and for those that don't understand who Mayorkas
I thought he was about to say, there's things in law enforcement that are called ethics and integrity, but I don't understand it at all. I don't know what you mean by ethics. Bro, let me put it into perspective, because this guy is not operating under the basis that these people are human. He's not even operating under the basis that these people are animals, because I feel like he would be probably kinder to like a dog that he sees on the side of the road than, undocumented people crossing the border. So let me explain it to you. Of course they put toilets there. Okay? You got to do you have toilets at the train station? Do you have toilets at border crossing? Yeah. You're going to have toilets at the regular points of entry. The entire point is these guys wouldn't have to do this if they could legally do it. You think someone who has the legal capabilities of getting into the country just still goes, nah, I'm going to cross the border illegally? No, they won't. It's so stupid. And for you saying some of them are convicted felons, that's why they don't want to enter the country legally. Okay. Allow the non-convicted felons to enter legally so that you at least know that all of the people who are trying to enter illegally are more likely to be convicted felons. But we don't do that. We don't have that. A convicted felon is not a bad person automatically. A convicted felon could have been a rehabilitated person.
is, he's...
It's the Secretary of Homeland Security. His sole responsibility is the safety and security of this country, and he's failing miserably. So here's all the fencing.